Hi everyone, thanks for joining me and welcome. Well, it's been a manic couple of weeks. It's 13 days since I uploaded the Tyre Glider introduction video, and since then it's had 90,000 views. Earlier in the week I had the pleasure of meeting the inventor, Kevin Baker, along with his father, and it was such an interesting story that I thought that I should share it with you. So I interviewed Kevin a few days ago, and I'm going to play that interview shortly. Just to set the scene, Kevin comes from Wales, and for those of you that are not familiar with the geography of the UK, Wales is on the western side of the UK and is a country in its own right, has its own government. Kevin comes from a place called Caerphilly, and Caerphilly is famous for several things. One is its magnificent castle. Secondly, cheese. Caerphilly cheese is well known. And also a much loved but dearly departed comedian, Tommy Cooper. But of course, henceforth, it'll also be known as the birthplace of the Tyre Glider. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the interview. So welcome, Kevin. And how has the last couple of weeks been for you?
Phenomenal, to be honest with you, Roy. Ever since your video went live last Sunday morning, orders have been substantial every single day, all over the world. It's gone worldwide within a week, which is more than I could ever have dreamed of. And you know, when I was developing the product, I had to go through the prototyping stage, and at that stage it was just like a 3D printed model, you know, basically done in the office with the guys who I went and developed the product with. It wasn't as strong as it is now, so you know, the injection molding product we have now is extremely strong, but even back then with the 3D printed model, it was still working on your Gatorskins, your Schwalbe Marathon pluses, your GP 5000s. It was also working on wider tyres, you know, as well as the thinner tyres. And I just had a feeling that that's all I needed when it hit the market was credibility. You know, bring a brand new innovation, completely new to the market. Nothing's ever been done before like it. I looked at the market and thought, hang on, there's a gap. Let's try and fill it. And yeah, you know, when I was developing the program, it was just, I couldn't change my tyre. And if I couldn't do it, I knew there was millions of other people out there who couldn't do it too.
And I noticed with some of the comments we've had, you've obviously got the diehards that relish doing it with their fingers and they don't even need tyre levers. And I understand that because some people can do that. But I sometimes wonder if those people have actually encountered a really tough tyre and wheel combination. And I think as is proved by the number of orders you've had, there are an awful lot of people in that boat. So there is going to be a big market for it, no doubt. You must have had some doubts on the way, though, as to whether you were on the right lines.
Yeah, there's always doubt. You know, when I first started this kind of journey, what was it? June 2020, I had the idea. So it was just an idea that came to my head. And, you know, there was always doubt. And I knew it was going to be a massive expense. You know, bear in mind, you know, I haven't got millions of pounds in the bank. You know, it's just me. I work for the local authority. So, you know, I'm on an okay wage, but it's not fantastic. And it was a massive, massive spend for me. And I knew it was going to be a massive spend. So that kind of fear and doubt was always in the back of my mind. But like I say earlier, when I started developing the product and kind of seeing how it was working in a 3D model version, that kind of doubt was eased a little bit. But obviously until it hit the market, I really didn't know which way it was going to go. And you know, without that credibility that thankfully you give it, you know, completely independent of me.
Well, I would say, Kevin, you gave it the credibility. All I did is gave it an honest test. Frankly, no, you know, I make no bones about it. Had it failed that test, then that would have gone out as well. So, you know, but it didn't. So that was the important thing. So how long have you been cycling, Kevin?
in my adult life, not that long. And that's kind of where it came from. You know, I was always riding a bike as a child, but then probably stopped, as you do when you're in your teenage years. Got to about 3-4 years ago, and then I took up running first, you know, just kind of wanted to get back into fitness. And then, you know, running, next step for me was triathlon, so I needed a bike. When I got a bike, I wanted to change the tyres on the bike and realised I couldn't do it.
What tyres were they? Do you remember?
It was a SL Boardman I bought, and I think they were Vittoria Zaffiras.
Right.
And I just went to change them, to be honest with you. I thought they were glued on because they were that tight, you know, on the bead, that I could not shift them. And it took me, no word of a lie, about 3 weeks going back and forth, a bit at a time, trying to work out how to do it. Because, you know, as I remember as a kid, it was like, oh, that's just simple. You just take the tyre off, you put it in a tube in, and you put it back on.
With a spoon.
Done. Yeah, that's how easy it was. But things have changed since them days. So then I thought, as I was doing it, it was like, it's got to be an easier way. But then, you know, the idea developed later on then. It didn't come to me straight away. And
I did put a teaser photo up on the actual review of a can of tuna. Would you like to explain what that was all about?
Yeah, so that's where it came from then. I don't know how far after, you know, I changed my tyres, the idea came to me. But I remember like it was yesterday. All of a sudden, I was standing over my sink, as I do, opening my can of tuna, make sure I don't get any mess. And I just looked at it, and I've got a tin opener, the ones that sit on top of the can, and you hold it, and then you screw, and it opens the tin. And I looked at it, and I thought, well, hang on, if a tin opener has got the strength to open a can of tuna by just clipping on to the top, why hasn't anyone done that with a bike tyre? And then it just kind of formulated. I went for a walk then the next day up in a place called Graigano's Castle in Wales. If anyone wants to go there, it's a beautiful walk. It was soaking, absolutely soaked I was. And then walking across the field, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was like, hang on, why can't we do it?
Yeah.
And it was that clip. It was that little clip where I thought, every wheel, you know, I know they're developing new ones now, but most wheels have got that hook.
Yeah.
And nobody's utilised it.
Yeah.
I went home, researched the market, and found that actually there isn't anything like it on the market. And it went from there.
I think where you've commented on breaking the tyre away from the bead, as I said to you in a conversation earlier in the week, I don't think your tool can do that alone at the moment.
No.
Now, it might be something you're working on, but you know, that is an area where if you've got a really, really nasty tyre that's gripped in that bead, and I think when you're using a standard tyre on a tubeless wheel, that's where that sort of situation occurs. That can be quite difficult. So that may be somewhere that you can develop the tool.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely look into that as we go along. I got ideas as well for development. Like, you know, this is the first product.
Yeah.
You know, when there's products kind of evolve, and you know, you start with one, and then you kind of gain feedback, see what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Develop version 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, although you tested lots of tyres, you can't test everything. So I guess that's where the value is of the comments people are making on my channel, because it's all good feedback for you.
Yeah,
and
that's great for me.
As I'll repeat at the end of this video, I would like people to come back with comments about not only this product and how we can develop it, or you can develop it, but also other aspects of bikes that need reinventing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people have commented, why has it taken so long for somebody to come up with such an idea?
Yeah.
And one of the things I would put to you, I'll get mine in first, is the Presta valve, which I think is an absolutely awful thing. So get working on that, Kevin.
I will do.
This is your task for today, should you wish to accept it. One of the comments that has been made regularly since the video, because I did say in the video review that this was only available from the UK. Now, of course, you've had you've had inquiries from all over the world and orders from all over the world, and people have
Yeah.
had to pay quite big amounts of postage to get it there.
Yeah.
What are the plans on distribution?
Plans on distribution is to try and get distributors all around the world. So, as many distributors as I can. I've had inquiries from a few already. Can't say too much about the distribution inquiries, but they are coming in from around the world. I'm still waiting for the UK distributor to come knocking on my door, which hasn't happened as of yet, which is, I'll wait though. I'm sure they'll come. I've no doubt they will.
Yeah.
But in regards to sending them out, what I'm hoping to do is open distribution channels up so I can send stock to Europe, I can send stock to the USA, and then they can ship everything from those territories rather than it all being posted out from the UK.
So that's going to be some kind of fulfillment organization, I guess.
Yeah, looking like fulfillment centers.
Yeah.
It's probably going to take another month or so to get set up. But, as soon as it's set up, then it should run a lot smoother.
Yeah.
And what I have done with the posting, you mentioned it on your video, first of all, was, it's a flat rate at the moment. And, if you buy 4, I have looked at the packaging, to be honest with you, and I can get up to about 10 now in a packet for bulk orders. People want to spread that cost of, I think it's £11, I think, for the rest of the world, and I think it's £8 for Europe. So, to spread that cost, if you order 10, obviously the cost of postage is reduced. With Europe, I don't know how it's working. I'm sending out delivery duty unpaid, but what duty everyone pays either side, I'm not sure at the moment. There's too many countries to look at.
Sure. And how can we overcome that then? Will the fulfillment operations change?
Yeah, fulfillment, then we'll look at and address that issue. So how it'll work is then eventually I'll be sending my stock out to Europe, and they will be fulfilling everything from within the EU.
Excellent.
So then the price will automatically be shown up front, and there shouldn't be any issues then when they're all set up.
One of my concerns for you, and I'm sure it must be a concern for you, is that although I know you've patented this product worldwide, I think I'm right. Of course, we do know that sometimes, shall we say, in the Far East, there's one particular country, let's say it, China, who will copy anything. Is this likely to be an issue, do you think? And what are the implications for you?
Yeah, it's always in the back of my mind they're being copied, because I know it works so well compared to everything else on the market. But in regards to copies from China, the great thing is being manufactured in UK. I know the materials being used in the product are the highest quality grade. So it's the highest quality grade of plastic, which means the tensile strength of the product is a lot higher than everything else.
Right.
So the standard is a lot higher than other places in the world.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're tempted to buy a cheap one from China, it's probably going to break, because let's face it, I mean, I have to say, when I pushed that tab in on the Gatorskin and pulled it over 90 degrees, I was waiting for a snap or a bend or whatever, and I'm amazed at how strong it is. I think if somebody doesn't feed the tyre in around the bead, into the centre channel, there's a possibility that it could break the tool. But that's where you've got to get that bit of teaching across, and I think you're going to bring out another instructional video. Yeah,
I got plans for doing instructional videos. The ones on the moment on the website, they're okay for now. We've just done them. I had the product. I needed to get the product out.
Sure.
Didn't know how it was going to go in the market. And since the feedback have come back, and there's a couple of things that needs to go in a video, that needs to go in a video. So I'll be doing that now over the next couple of months, and it'll be me on screen, going through the technique from start to finish. So because there is a technique to it, Roy. I gotta be fair that I've been using it for over a year and a half now. And it is a tire moving tool. I'm not going to try and call it a tire lever anymore, because it's not.
It's not.
No. It's completely different.
Yeah. There's only one bit of levering, and that's when you get ready to take it off.
Yeah.
But no, it's at all. And I think where, all right, I rather boldly said this is a replacement for the tyre lever. I think it is, because even those people that are very proficient with tyre levers, and, you know, I've had a lot of people say, I can do it with 3 tyre levers very easily and so on, and with my bare fingers and that. But I watched a couple of videos of people putting these on with bare fingers, and it was a long job. And I would say this is a much quicker way of doing it. And let's face it, if something's easy to use, then why not use it? And I think it, you know, personally, I think it will replace the tyre lever. The way I always sort of reverse this sort of thing. And, you know, if somebody, let's say the Tyre Glider was the thing that everybody used, then you bought out the tyre lever and said, this is a new product, you know, you're going to need 3 of these, and people would laugh at it because the Tyre Glider is so easy to use. But it'll take time, because obviously there are the purists, and we understand that will want to continue using the tyre lever. Yeah.
The analogy I've always had developing the product, and I try and get this across to people, is I always remember VHS videos and DVDs. I always remember that. I'm at that age. And now I remember when DVDs came out, and I was one of the purists of it. I won't say purist, but I was like, well, why do I want to do, you know, why do I want a DVD? I got video, you know. And it was only when I watched a DVD and you see the difference in quality that I don't think I ever went back.
No.
And that's the way I see, well, I'd like to see the Tyre Glider going. Yeah. Because when you use it and you're like, that was easy. I don't think you'd ever go back.
No. No, I don't think you
would. I certainly wouldn't. No. I know I wouldn't. I will not use anything else now, because I know how easy it is.
One of the things that we did discuss earlier in the week, Kevin, is that there are fewer women cycling than men. One of the things this could be is that some ladies get worried about having breakdowns and having punctures away from home. Indeed, I know one lady that comes out on our guided rides who pays an annual subscription for a breakdown service, who will come and pick her up if she has a puncture. And of course, Wendy, that rides with me regularly, her husband will pick her up. What's your opinion on demographics? Are you aiming this at anyone in particular?
Great thing is about the Tyre Glider, especially when testing over the last year and a half, is anybody can use it. You know, I've got a sister and my mother who've never ridden a bike in their lives, I don't think, and they can both use it very, very easily. My mother is, you know, of an age, shall we say now, of retirement age, and she can get a Gatorskins on and off, you know, within 30 seconds, and she's never done it before.
Right.
So it's about, you know, say strength, but you don't need strength with the Tyre Glider. I don't know if people haven't found using it so far, but the idea when the design of it is when you get to that tight bit, you can angle it, so then you're not using your arm, but you're using your whole body weight.
Yes.
So you're allowing your whole body weight to fall behind it, which gives it the strength to go on.
So you're pushing down on the tyre, aren't you? Pushing down on the tool. And also, as we found out, if you do have the problem where you are chasing the tyre's actually coming back off the other side, if you place it down on the ground, it solves that problem as well.
Yeah, you stick it between your feet, pinch it together, and you have that problem goes away.
And the other thing,
I also had.
Sorry,
go on. I was going to say, I also had an ergonomic assessment done on the tool before it was launched by an ergonomic assessor. And he had it tested with his 9-year-old daughter. And she's left-handed. And she was also putting Gatorskins on and off, you know, as a 9-year-old child. So
now explain for the left-handed people out there how you would use it left-handed.
Right, okay. I'm left-handed myself. You know, I am left-handed. I'm a bit lucky in regards to I do everything else right-handed, But being left-handed, you know, it's mirrored. So you take it off, you just pull it towards you. And then when you put it back on, it's just mirrored. Instead of pushing, you pull it towards you.
Right.
It's just mirrored.
Yeah.
So I will try and do a video of it at some point. So
yeah, that would be useful, because that certainly is a question that came up. The other question that came up, I had a private message from a blind cyclist who rides with a tandem rider. And his question was, you know, how could I use it as a blind person? Would it suit me? Now, I did answer him on that, but I know you can answer that better than me.
Yeah, like I say, the ergonomic assessor, he actually put in his report that he done it blindfolded. So he put it blindfold on himself, and he changed the tyre blindfolded just to see how easy it was. Admittedly, he said it took a little bit longer when he was sighted, but because of the design of it and the features, it was very easy distinguishable which end needed to be used. So yeah, it can be used by all. The other market I was aiming for as well, like I say, it's useful for your casual riders going out on the casual weekend, but it's also useful for the high-end racers, then, if you like, who are on races, but they haven't got a team behind them. That when they get a puncture, they have to change the tyre themselves. It'll save those guys so much time on the side of the road that once they have a puncture, it's not the end of the race. It'll be like bang, seconds. Off, back on, off they go again.
Now the Triban wheel that is an awful wheel to fit tyres to. If you use a folding tyre, then it is much easier. But then that limits the range that you can buy from. If you've always got to buy a folding tyre. So again, your tool overcomes that problem. What I like particularly about it is that it's so small. Now, as you know, I have reviewed other items in the past for putting tyres on. Well, not so much. In fact, none of them took the tyre off. Yours is the only one that can take the tyre off, but the others could fit them. But they were not ideal. Either they wouldn't handle a range of tyres, or they were too big to carry with you. Now, I've had some comments from people about would it handle a deep section carbon wheel, for example. My view is, providing you can get under that bead, then it should. Any views on that?
Yeah, like I say, as long as you can get under the bead. I haven't had any issue with any tyre as long as I can get under the bead. And I had it tested in a shop for well over a month before I launched the product as well, because I wanted to kind of see how it worked on various tyres that I didn't have. And they didn't come back and say any issues with any tyres they changed. So as long as you can get under that bead, it should be. In fact, it works on wheelchairs as well, they told me.
The thing is also with a deep section carbon wheel, or any deep section wheel, I mean, the bead is still sitting in the same place as any other wheel. So, there shouldn't be an issue. Another question came up was about, would it damage carbon wheels? My response to that was, it's smooth plastic. And it's certainly, I don't think it would damage them. And I think there's less potential damage than there is from tyre levers.
I'd agree with you there. I have tested it on a couple of carbon rims. I haven't had any scratching or any issues off them. Like you say, it's a smooth plastic face, so there shouldn't be any issues with it. And like I say, with normal tyre levers, if you do catch it wrong and it goes haywire, you're more likely to scratch it up and down.
And even when you're pulling over, where you've got the tab under the bead and you're pulling over the rim, you've got more surface area over the rim than you would have with a tyre lever. So it's spreading that load, as it were. So have you got anything else in the pipeline, Kevin? I mean, you must have other ideas.
Yeah, like I say, mentioned earlier, I've been listening to the feedback coming back from the real world. People who've tested it now out in the real world. I've listened to the feedback. I had a few ideas before as well. So, this is version 1. I have no doubt I'll develop a version 2, hopefully making it even better than this one.
Yeah.
I have got another idea in my mind as well for bike maintenance, but I can't say too much about that yet.
Definitely don't.
So that will be developed as well within the next year or so.
That's fantastic. And I think people would be interested to know, Kevin, how many things have you invented before this?
Just the one. This is the first one.
Yeah. Which is amazing. You know, when you first got in touch with me, I thought, oh, this guy's some inventor. I had an impression of you, you know, as the mad inventor. But not at all. So that's tremendous.
It was just literally, as I said, an idea I had opening a can of tuna.
Yeah, fantastic.
From there.
It's much better for people to become independent. And I know from my guided rides, it's even a battle to get people to carry a puncture outfit, spare tube, or a pump. So, you know, I think a lot of that is because people don't understand or don't know how to change a tyre or change a tube in a tyre. And I think anything that makes it easier, as this tool does, has got to be a good thing. Yeah,
I'd hope so. And I'd hope, you know, my aim is to try and get the Tyre Glider into as many saddlebags as possible worldwide.
Yeah.
You know, to make it easier for those people, well, everyone really. Suitable for everyone.
Yeah. And while we're on the subject of saddlebags, I mean, most of the experienced cyclists will carry tyre levers in their jersey. And I noted from the ergonomic report that, you know, that picked up on making all the edges smoothed off, rounded, so that it could safely be carried in the jersey pocket.
Yeah.
And it's very light. Do you know what it weighs?
It weighs just 23 grams.
Right. Yeah.
So compared to other tyre levers on the market, that's probably half their weight.
And it's not bulky.
No, not at all. But the response has been phenomenal this year. This week, I've had orders from as far away as Russia, Oman, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada, Chile, Brazil, all over.
And I noticed one from India, I think.
India,
which is tremendous. Do you have any plans to sell on Amazon?
I did have plans to sell on Amazon. But I spoke to an Amazon specialist yesterday morning, and I updated him on how well I was doing through the website. And his honest opinion was, I would keep it to your website at the moment. It doesn't look like you need Amazon. Whether or not that changes down the line, you know, I can relook at it. But at the moment, he said, you know, stick with your website.
I think one of the things I like about Amazon is if you receive something and you think, well, I don't really want it, you can send it back. Or say you broke it within, you know, a couple of days, you can probably send it back to them. But I guess if somebody did break it straight away and contacted you and told you why, you'd give them some advice.
Yeah, you know, if they contact me straight away, you know, as long as, you know, they can prove that it's broken, you know, I'm more than happy to give refunds. There's no problem at all.
Yeah. One comment that was made is that you don't accept PayPal. Is there any plan to change that?
Yeah, that's something I can definitely look into. I'll just need to go and see my website developer, and we can sit down, and I'm sure we can put that on, you know, within the next week or so, I'd imagine. It's just finding the time to go and see him right now.
Yes. You're a little bit busy picking and packing, I guess.
Very, very busy at the moment.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Is there anything you want to say to the people that have purchased the product?
The only thing I would ask for is genuine, honest feedback. You know, whether or not they comment on your video or my channel on YouTube, which is Tyre Glider. Yeah. Because, you know, it is a brand new product. There's going to be, you know, teething problems that I haven't foreseen within testing. So all feedback, negative, positive, is all welcomed. Yeah. You know, to develop the next tool.
Yeah. So it would be
and to spread the word, spread the brand awareness.
It would be good if they can comment on your, you know, to your website, because then you're going to get that direct. I do try to reply to everybody that sends me a message, but maybe if with this particular video of this interview, if you get the chance to just keep an eye on the comments, and if anyone wants to address a comment directly to you, you'll try and get back. But I know you've got a lot on at the moment, so it might take a bit of time.
I try and answer every single email, every single comment. You know, it's taking me a little bit longer at the moment, but you know, I will sit down, you know, whether or not it's 9:30, 10 o'clock some evenings, and just reply to emails and comments. You know, I do try my best, and you know, every single comment and email so far I've answered.
Good.
And I'll continue to do so as long as I can. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's been fascinating talking to you, Kevin. I think it's a really interesting design. I think all credit to you. And I think as somebody said you need well, somebody actually said you should get a knighthood. I wouldn't go that far, but you should certainly should certainly win some sort of design award for this. And
yeah, that would be fantastic if I could.
I hope you will. And when you do, please come back and update us. And in fact,
I will
come back and update us anyway as things develop and when you bring out new products.
I definitely will, right?
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me. And I look forward to the next product.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay, bye. Cheers.
Ta-da.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Kevin. It's quite an interesting story, I think you'll agree. Now, as Kevin said in the interview, he'd love your feedback. I have to say the feedback so far has been overwhelmingly positive. People are actually amazed at what this thing can do. Having said that, please make your comments below. Now, I normally respond to every sensible comment that's made, but in this case, I'll back off, and unless you specifically make the comment to me, I'll leave it to Kevin to reply. May take him a few days, but he'll certainly get back to you, as he said. So that's it for today. I've got much more in the pipeline, so for those of you that are new to this channel, I do varied videos. I hope I don't become predictable. I try to do different things all the time, and basically I'm not doing it for any other reason than I find it interesting, so hopefully you do too. So thanks very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll say goodbye.